Everybody, welcome into the Hive. I'm your host, TheBee at LLC, and this is where we stack precious metals like it's pollen and nectar. Our pollen is silver and our nectar is gold, preserving our wealth as honey of old. And like ancient metals, we hold our own. Today, we're going to be speaking with Everard of ARK Silver Gold Osmium, located in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Let's go ahead and bring him up and see what he has to say. Ian, welcome in.
Hey, good evening, long lived.
How you doing today? What's new down in
Oh
Jackson
my
Hole?
gosh, I've had my head down, keeping up with the phone calls and the orders. It's been a busy couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, good deal. Huh? I guess that's what we want, huh? People getting preserving their wealth.
Yeah,
So let's hear a little bit about it. We got newcomers, slow and steady customers, or what are
yeah, a
what are
lot
you
of
paying
lot
monthly?
of first time buyers. Yeah, which is interesting. They don't seem to be phased if the spot has a 4 or a 5 in front of it. For a lot of us who started when it was in the teens or even lower, it's psychologically hard adjustment.
Yeah, it is.
I think 2 weeks ago I kept saying 20, didn't I? Instead of 40 or something.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
kept saying it like. So yes, I mean your kilo of silver now nearly around 1,600 with a modest premium. I don't know what the average US wage is, but there's probably about one of those a month
Right,
is the
right.
average US wage. So it's getting wealth dense, isn't it? Again.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. People are talking about how man it got smashed down so hard and far, and we're still at 47, $48 here now, and it's like, yeah, it did get smashed, but we
It
are
ran up
still,
it ran up so quick, didn't it? From
yeah,
48 all the way. Yeah, it didn't really ease up. Um, Lots of theories, and I think people want to try and dig in. Well, what's the actual sort of micro reason? It dropped back. Um, I don't think
yeah,
it really matters, does it? When you understand the big picture, where we are and where we're going to be, the journey doesn't really matter too much.
right. Yeah, well, we had, I guess I didn't even realize there was another Fed meeting, but evidently I just was hearing that they decided to go ahead and cut again and stop their quantitative tightening and get ready for some more easing.
If they ever were tightening, I mean, they got so many ways they can grease the wheels. I mean, this whole FX foreign exchange malarkey. What we are giving Argentina, aren't we? 20 billion from the foreign exchange fund that the Treasury Secretary has full charge over. Well, we know where the Argentina peso always goes. 9 times it's gone to zero, isn't it? So it will not be different this time. So
Yeah,
we have just thrown, as a nation, $20 billion away. Uh, and then another 20 from private funding, but it will be underwritten by the government. It's like
that
you
seems to
can't
me
make
what
it up, can you? I mean, I sort of go along with America first to a certain extent. I don't like the people who shout it and chant it, but I do agree a government's priority should be looking after its own population first.
yeah,
But I don't see how giving Argentina $40 billion, buying Argentinian beef to undercut American
yeah,
markets, who finally started making some money
yes,
after 30 years
yes,
of being
exactly,
ground into the dust, urinated on by the people above. It's like,
exactly.
and the big corporate flipping meat companies, Tyson and all those other ones, buying up all this. Yeah, I don't know. I think if you still got the nerve to wear any political party, as your banner, as your mantra, I think you really need to sit down and have a think about what is going on.
Yeah, sadly so. And as an example of that, for me, a big glaring light on that was the vaccine push and the mandate and how everybody had to have it the first time. And I had a lot of people tell me, well, Trump, he didn't understand what was going on. It was those around him, and you got to give him some room for mistakes. And well, he just came out again here recently talking about how you might have to take more vaccines and it might be mandated again. And
really,
yeah,
oh my,
yep, after what happened. And I just, if that, if we can't wake up from some of these glaringly obvious things, then I don't know. It's definitely frustrating for somebody like me. I think I've seen that for a while. That it's the bird. It's the bird that's the problem for us. And whether you're on the left wing or the right wing, it's the bird itself that we need to get off of. And so yeah. But on that note, let's say hello, John Camper. Welcome in. Good to see you. Think Differently 3000. Welcome in. I don't believe I've seen you in here. Good to have you. 888 the Great, Space Miner, Mr. Happy Stacker. Welcome in. Good to see you guys. Yeah, so let me pull up my questions here. Yeah, so on the quantitative tightening, quantitative easing, what to me, we have a lot already built into the cake that needs to come out of the power of the fiat currency. But like you say, going into is it Venezuela that we just gave a
Argentina
bailout to? Argentina, yeah.
And Venezuela, we're trying to pick a war with them.
Right, that's who we're dropping.
Blowing their boats up, threatening land. I think a group of CIA agents got caught as well, trying to do false flags and just create a situation where we've got an excuse to declare war. But of course, our government is anti-war, isn't it?
Right.
The president to no more wars. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's it. The wars, the bailouts, we're admittedly gonna quit what if we were tightening, we're now moving towards easing again. I mean, this is just blatantly out in the open, crashing the U.S. purchasing power, and it's pretty blatant at this point, isn't it?
Capitalism left alone will go through peaks and troughs, but when you start making it crony capitalism, it makes it even more volatile, and the greed seems to get even greedier. It's the more you see what's going on in the world and the connections. I mean, you mentioned warp speed. What was the other thing? Oh, draining the swamp. I can't think of any more toxic creatures than Kushner you could imagine in a swamp. Palling up with Tony Blair to divide Gaza up and redevelop it. I mean, these guys are now just out in the open, out and out corrupt through and through.
Yes.
There was at least some pretense, or don't shout about it. I think all of the congressmen and women, or most of them, seem to be insider trading, and they seem to come out. If they didn't go into office as millionaires, they came out as millionaires. But now it seems to be $1 million or 10 or 20 is not enough. They want to make a 2 billion, 5 billion, 10 billion. It's and the whole thing really winds me up about that whole Doge thing. And I was saying it right from the start. They had no interest in cutting government expenditure. That was not the plan. The plan was to get full access to all of the US government records so they could all be collected in one place. And that place is Palantir.
And handed to Palantir. Yep.
Who is paid as a main contractor to the government for doing all this data processing. It's so if anybody thinks we've drained the swamp or we've owned the libs, oh my gosh, the The American people have sleepwalked into a dystopian, not future, because it's now. That information is now in Palantir's system. Anything you've ever done federally or state is now accessible instantly, connected to all of your history, medical, financial, tax, you name it, everything.
Yes.
That was never supposed to happen. That's why all the agencies had firewalls between them. So someone in one agency, you couldn't go and get all the data, and to stop and slow down or prevent abuse of collecting that data.
Yes, and we've talked about it before, how when the printing press gets out of control, lawlessness creeps in.
Creeps. Creeps. It has marched in.
Yeah, I
agree. It has just absolutely marched in. I mean, knocking down the East Wing, tearing up trees that were there when from George Washington's time, just ripping that apart to build. I mean, who the heck wants a freaking ballroom that no one is ever going to go to?
This time to go dancing. Yeah. Speaking of which, I couldn't believe in it. I don't know if you've seen Hegseth on talking about blowing these boats up, these Venezuelan boats up, and how just somebody mentioned, what lawful rights do you have to be bombing? What have they done? Oh, well, it's protecting the American people, and we've had an open border policy, and drugs have been pouring in, and just in the defense of the people.
From speedboats that would take them about 20 refuel stops to get here from
right. It's the fact that
it is distraction. Part of it is distraction, and part of it is whatever the motivation, the military-industrial complex wants another war.
Yep.
And we want one way or the other. We want American oil companies right in there developing Venezuela oil field. That's part of what it's about, but part of it's a distraction. I mean, and if they think the Epstein files are going away because they're blowing up speedboats, I don't think so. That's not going away.
Yeah, Brian says they have a printing press with the U.S. doing its counterfeiting, but if they can't collect with taxes, that is their only option, isn't it?
No, they have plenty of options. You've got financial repression, haven't you? So say this government shutdown carries on for another 6 months. How many people directly are going to lose their homes? And how many people indirectly, the surrounding economy, businesses that rely on government workers, patronage, goods and services where they're working. For every government job, there's probably one or two non-government jobs because of a well-paid, secure government job. So what's the consequence there? Well, where does that property go? It will get snapped up by Vanguard and Blackstone and Stain Street or whatever, or it'll get sucked up by corporate America. So that's one way they can steal wealth. We as a nation are under attack from all sides.
That's what I see.
By our own government.
That's what I think. I've been saying that for a minute now, and of course it drives me crazy. I hate saying it, hate thinking it, but you gotta look at reality for what reality is, and it just keeps coming. And like you say, when I said slow creep, you kind of chuckled and said it's a hard march.
It's a raging storm. It's a raging storm. Just as good question from Mr. and Mrs. West Texas Stacker there. And that's happening already. I've been in touch with a few coin shops in Utah, and they ran out of cash because they're in a dense urban area and they've been selling for decades. So that's where people go and one of them, I won't mention the name, they were offering $9 back of spot.
Wow.
So their idea of reducing the flow was to really lowball the offer. But it is a growing problem, because the wholesalers now, if they are purchasing from dealers, it's a much bigger spread now. It used to be a 50 or 60 cent spread. Now it can be $4, $5, $6 that the wholesaler is offering below the wholesale price to buy back. I mean, thankfully, we've got one wholesaler, we've got two. They own their own mints, so they were always looking for silver to mint into their own product, and so there is a market there. But it is a problem.
Yeah, it gets a bit confusing to me, these bottlenecks that seem to pop up. But overall, go ahead.
The big thing in the retail is, and I hadn't connected the dots, and it's obvious when you think about it. Mints don't own the silver and then mint it, then sell it over a period of 6 months. They lease the silver. Now, you used to be able to lease silver. Sometimes you'd get paid to borrow the silver because you were covering the storage and insurance for it. Now, recently, it was costing 30% per year to lease silver. So you'd have to pay the silver back plus 30% on the original dollar amount that you'd borrowed, or the overnight lease rate approached to 100% if you annualized it. So the mints now will only mint what they're confident of selling within a few weeks. So that means the Canadian mint has stopped early minting 2025 maples, and no 2026s are available in the US that I can find. And so you got that carrying across the mints. The only exception is the only 2026 coin we can get is the Australian kangaroo at the moment. Everything else is
really.
The first allocation of the Britannia is sold out. We only managed to get a box, and I was just about to order some more, and then that was no, can't order anymore.
Wow. So
it is interesting. You've got what appears to be a temporary surplus at retail level, at the street level, but in the wholesale world, very, very little product left now.
Interesting. You got so with the, I'm hearing that we had to fly a bunch of silver over to London. 500
cargo planes full. Yeah.
So have you wrapped your head around on what?
Well, part of the reason that is given is that because of the threat of the tariffs, American industry and institutions decided to bring a lot of silver over so it wouldn't get caught in a tariff situation. But I think that coincided with the LBMA just really getting caught, but it hasn't got the liquidity that it said it has. And that a lot of the silver that it has on its books either isn't there, or it's owned multiple times, or it's owned by people who have no intention ever of selling it. They're just using the LBMA to store it. So I think, again, we were very close to a stock out situation in Europe. And that was happening with retail product at the same time. But why that causes such a dramatic flow in the spots, that's above my pay grade, really.
Okay. So yeah, Nickel here makes an interesting question. Is at what price will the government step in and not allow it to go higher? I don't know that. I mean, they can cut us off from purchasing it at the dealer level, I guess. But
I think I've really come to the conclusion, if you look at what China is doing with the 17 rare earths, the super hard alloys, tungsten, and a handful of other metals that I'm sure Space Miner could list the whole lot. I am sure China has been sucking up silver as well as gold, as well as getting a position in rhenium and all of the rare earths. So I think it is going to be out of the West's control to set the price, and I think China could just let it loose. I mean, they could say, okay, silver's we bid $100. I mean, I'm not sure. I hadn't checked what the price on the Shanghai Gold Exchange is. Maybe someone's got time to do that. If you look it up, it will tell you the price in kilos. So you just divide that by 32.15, and that will give you the price per ounce. But there was, I think, up to a $9 higher rate spot on the Shanghai for silver. So that tells me that silver's flowing in that direction.
Yes.
So I think it's out of our hands. I don't really see, I can't really see a resolution now, because China has shown its hands that it wants to destroy us. You know, and it's all very well having the best military in the world, but what if you can't build any more jets because you haven't got the neodymium and all of the other metals that you need to build that jet? China's got them all. You're going to lose that war eventually, aren't you, I guess? So I really think the system that has been slowing down the ascent of silver is coming to an end.
I think so too. That's what whenever, you know, people say, well, they'll just step in and stop it. But I kind of I always bring up the Shanghai Exchange now being a big hole in their game now. How are they going to plug that hole?
You can't, can you? I mean, unless there's east-west collusion, and maybe there has been in the past. It is. Whoa! It is. I mean, everybody who's bought silver and has got a silver position wants it to go up, but it's what comes along with it, isn't it? Be careful what you wish for. Because,
yeah.
You know, I've been saying for a couple of years now that within days of the whole world banking system freezing up, the precious metals will run, or the other way around, but they'll both happen within days of each other. You know, it's you can't really call it a black swan, because to me it's obvious. If we wake up and silver is $100, everybody's going to be talking about it, and a whole lot more people are going to be trying to buy a bit of silver. You know, that awareness. Okay, can you do the conversion, Brian, on that? Now you've got to go to the DX charts, trading view or something, and see how many. It was about 6 to 1, wasn't it? 6 yuan to $1. So somebody has to find out what the conversion is.
Yeah. I think Mr. Happy Stacker makes a good point that I've been looking at as well, is that, China, and in fact, I got a little short video here. Well, maybe now is a good time to bring it up, and we'll play it through. But I think that, you know, this BRICS thing is going to be the big hole, the big problem that's we're not going to be able to stop. Here, let me bring this up, and I'll just play this right quick.
I'm on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange today, and I asked the traders their thoughts on the BRICS countries coming together to create one centralized currency to replace the US dollar as the.
So first, I want to say that I think that's a fallacy in itself, that the BRICS is trying to create another fiat reserve currency. No, I think that all they're going to do is go back and settle the score in real money, gold.
They don't trust them. They don't trust each other to trust each other's currencies. So from what I understand, the deal is that if you get in excess of somebody else's currency, you can instantaneously turn it into gold on the Shanghai Gold Exchange. And they've got the depth of liquidity and plenty of gold to be able to do that.
Yep.
So that's what I can't see Russia or China or any of the countries wanting to trust any else's currency.
No, I don't think so. And I think that's big hole like with this, guys. And I hear that from a lot of people when they're discussing that, and I'm like, no, you're kind of missing the point of where the real problem is. But we'll go ahead and finish this off. It's just a short loop.
The world reserve currency, and they literally laughed at me. About 90% of the foreign exchange transactions involve the US dollar. It absolutely dominates. Yeah, but Taylor, the BRICS countries are going to back their currency with gold. Good luck backing your currency with gold that the US owns 2 times as much as all of the BRICS countries combined. And yeah, Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping, they're going to be able to make unanimous economic decisions. Okay. Even if this was a legit thought, it isn't. The world reserve currency doesn't change overnight. The US passed the UK as the largest economy in the world in 1916, and the US dollar didn't become the world reserve currency until 1944. And it took a world war to change it. Let's put this one to bed.
So,
oh my gosh, what an arrogant ass.
No doubt.
What a completely... from what I understand, gold has already overtaken the dollar as a reserve hold by central banks.
Yep.
It overtook the euro about a year and a half ago, and
that 90%. That 90% number is way lower than that now. That was like a 10-year ago.
Yeah, but what he's saying is because half of the transaction could be in dollars, so really you could say 45%.
Okay. It's funny though. I looked in the comment section and. Here's one. Comparing USD with a non-existent currency is itself an indicator of doubt and potential threat. And then one guy says, from the Titanic will never sink to we're effed. The Romans, Spanish, Dutch, British once thought the same of their currency. So, I mean, comments just keep going. And
it is, yeah, I mean, I was of the firmer opinion, but because of the size of debt that's written in dollars and the number of transactions, that a currency couldn't threaten the dollar. But this is not what they're proposing, which is what we said earlier. All they're proposing is we trade with each other's currencies without having to use the dollar as the intermediary. So we don't have to use any banking system. We can use whatever one they come up with. And it's not about backing the currency with gold, but like we said, it is okay. I don't want to hold yuan. I don't want to buy anything from China yet. I think my currency is going to do better than the yuan, so I will have gold. I'll take it and I'll turn it into gold right now.
Yep, and
that's what it's about.
Exactly. Trade in real commodities, and the difference at the end of the month, year, week, I don't know what they'll do, but that will just finish out.
It's a hybrid system, and I've been saying for a long time. When you look at the definitions of money, fiat currency can't be money and gold can't be money. You have to use both, because the gold is a store of value part, whereas the fiat is a universally accepted, fungible, durable, divisible, but it just can't store value. So if you use both, you have to have a hybrid system to function and not lose your purchasing power.
Right.
So I think that hubris, that arrogance is overwhelming. Yeah.
very, very telling in itself.
Very, very, very confident, wasn't he? Yeah.
So yeah, it looks like Brian says it's $49.73. It's $1 or $2 over. Looks like there, but yeah, I mean, we've had it. When we first started talking, it was $5. It dropped down to a couple, then up to $9. Now it looks like
nearly
$2, but
that's nearly $2.
Yep.
So that means metal will be flowing east to fill that arbitrage. It's sucking it up. China is offering more, so they're continually resetting the price of silver by offering more than the US spot price. Gold. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people who studied the China and gold issue for a long time, and they mine 400 tons a year. So there's no way they've only got 2,000 tons.
That's what I hear.
They've been mining 400 tons declared. So they probably got 20, 30, 40,000 tons.
Okay. Yeah, and if we're so confident then why aren't we doing audits ourselves, right? Like, why don't we do an audit? Because there was all that hype, and then now the hype has disappeared. But we have such arrogance and confidence that we just have so much more gold than everyone else. But from what I hear about China, they mine quite a bit of gold themselves and not much leaves, from what I hear. So, let alone they buy, they're constantly, steadily buying.
They are aggressive buyers, and they don't declare their purchases. And I'm sure they've been doing the same with silver. Same with Russia.
Right.
I've said it a few times. When you watch that video of Putin, 3-4 years ago, showing off Russia's gold.
Yep.
There were pallets and pallets of gold in the middle of the warehouse, but the back of the warehouse was just filled with silver, floor to ceiling, just, immense amount. If we can work it out, of course
exactly,
the world have worked it out.
Exactly, that's what I think, and I think there's been a longer term game here. I think I'm kind of one of the few in this camp from what I've been able to see out there. But I think that behind the scenes, they've known for quite a while what's going on. These other countries have been stacking these metals, the precious metals, the all these other minerals, the rare earths, I guess. And meanwhile, the U.S., as you said, is a steady march into kicking the legs out from under any strength that we have here.
And we have pretty well run down to zero our strategic reserves. I think the figure I saw the other day was we only have 1/50th of the reserves we had in 1950. We've just got so complacent that it will always be able to buy it, and everybody's been asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, I think so. That's what Brian is just mentioning here. People aren't paying attention to these issues until it goes mainstream, which it might be starting to kick off, and it's going to be much too late. And that's what we're doing out here, trying to get people to protect themselves. And we've been doing it just for a couple years now. And in that couple years, like we said last time, your 401k has almost been cut in half now. And if you had some metals, you would have protected that, because they've went up, they've doubled in value. So indeed that they are the safe space to be for what's occurring right now.
Oh, I like that comment from 888. Show me the gold and the Epstein files.
Yeah, it's sad, and for me, the other big thing that I see is just the lawlessness. Like when you have your defense secretary talking about how we just bomb who we want to in defense of the people. Yeah. Like that's not lawfulness. We're doing what we want because
it's lawless. Yeah.
Because I have the power to do so.
It's judge, jury, and executioner for a crime that doesn't hold the death penalty. Yeah,
exactly.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yep.
I think some Trinidad fishermen have got caught up. In fact, didn't they let two go? The two that survived, they just let them go. Oh. So if they were heinous narco terrorists, would you let the survivors go?
Right.
No. But if they're not, you've got to let them go, and hopefully the story dies down. And partly the populace's attention span is so short. A lot of people just seem to forget about what happened yesterday.
Yeah. I just seen on kind of a different subject, but I just seen somebody got arrested for posting a Trump meme this is in the States. I mean, I know that's happening in the UK. I've been watching that for a while, where people are just getting arrested for posting stuff on whatever social media.
Really?
Yeah, and here it just happened in the States. This guy posted, it wasn't even really threatening in any way.
Right.
And he's sitting in jail with like a $2 million bond or something ridiculous, whereas like there's murderers getting
$50,000 gets them out.
Yeah, in no time. And that's hard it's hard for the brain. Like, it's hard for my brain. And to me, the only way it makes sense to me is if it's all deliberately being done, and it's to take out the gumption from the people in the US. And I've that's something else I kind of mentioned, is I have a feeling that we're that last stronghold of a country that has supposedly these freedom beliefs, and they're gonna stomp that out of us if they have their way.
It's a preemptive strike of a dictator, is to get people to obey in advance. You get people to comply before you've told them to comply. You get people groomed, conditioned, that you keep your head down, you don't complain, you don't criticize, you don't say what's going on, you just look the other way.
Yes. And between you and me talking early on, remember when I said, you watch, they're paying these illegals to come in here, and eventually they're going to say, oh, we got to get them out, or we've got to have digital ID to stop this. And sure enough, that was.
No.
Go ahead.
No, you're right. The consequence of that, and it is a whole mixed picture. But from what I've seen and what I've done a little bit of research into, the bulk of the people being deported are not criminals, have no criminal. In fact, a lot of them are following everything they've been told to do, turning up at court appearances and whatever, and then they're getting grabbed. So it is not about the hardened criminals. In fact, I think our government wants hardened criminal, undocumented people here, so more crimes, they can commit more crimes, and then we can up the pressure of how bad it is and how we've got to crack down.
Exactly. And it allows them to get troops on the street wearing masks, driving around in unmarked vans, grabbing people up off the street. And I mean, that is just something.
Did you see the pictures of the Texas National Guard that they sent to Chicago? There were some pictures, and they labeled it not SEAL Team 9, mealtime 9. They were all about 50, 60 stone, grossly overweight, just stuffed into their uniforms. It's like, but that, I mean, I'm laughing about that, but what the heck is Texas doing when there are still 100 missing bodies from the floods 5-6 weeks ago? There's still 100 bodies missing. So why aren't they using their Texas National Guards to find those bodies?
Yeah, and when you look into like what happened off the coast, off the East Coast, I can't think of there was that big storm that came in off the coast about a state in or so, and just caused major damage. And the people that were the locals were doing great job of rescuing other people, providing support to other people, coming together as a community. But then when FEMA came in, they literally were arresting people who were trying to help, and making it 10 times worse. And let alone, I don't know if I should get into the some of these weather controlling programs that the government seems to have, where you can amplify a storm or steer a storm, or I mean that stuff's maybe a little controversial, but from what I've looked into it, it's very legit. And knowing what the rest of what I know is going on, you'd say, oh, that's just crazy talk. But when you see what else they're doing deliberately, you can't just wipe that off the board and say it's not a possibility, at least in my opinion. But
I think it's improbable with the scale of the forces you're talking about. Personally, I think it's improbable. But if they could, they would.
Yeah, well, there's and
it's bad enough, isn't it, that the psychological operations that are through the media and the TV channels,
for sure,
that's mind control.
For sure,
it really is. And to get people fighting each other because some people lean more to the left and some people are more to the right. So therefore, if you're slightly to the left, you're what are you? What are you now called to the orange guy? You're a radical left lunatic. There we go.
Right.
Or
you get put into jail for your meme post. Like
that's
crazy,
bizarre. I wonder if they'll go after South Park. I mean, South Park have been really hammering at home, haven't they?
I haven't been watching, but I've seen them do good work like that before, and even the Simpsons seem to predict a lot of stuff that seems to come about. But and then with Snap 888, what's going on with the shutdown and Snap? I have a feeling that these things aren't by chance, but to each their own on that.
No, I mean there's no reason, is there? I'm sure there's people abuse that system, but I'm sure there's plenty of families who depend on it to eat as well, and they shouldn't have to. If they're working, the job should pay them enough to live.
Right.
What has happened there that we need? Was it 45 million people on the food stamps? Or I think they've renamed it again, have they? Is it? Yeah, I think they've renamed it from Snaps, but it's the same setup, isn't it? People get issued with a loaded debit card, and they're sort of restricted at the store what they can or can't buy.
Yeah, to me, I see it as a funneling of control, like Brian just says, control, and that's what I see. And they get people in a position of need and trust in them, and then they'll do something like cut this off, and then it becomes a national emergency, maybe just for some genius idea like a CBDC or something to come streaming in, or some other foot in the door program to get some type of digital ID / incentives to come through the digital ID, your payment to come through the digital ID, CBDC of some
Sure.
I mean, and I know I probably sound very conspiratory, but once you start watching this for long enough, it becomes obvious what's going on, and it's like, okay, what's coming next? Because sorry, but with the little sidetrack, but I just had my bank that I have my business bank at try to get me to sign off on an all digital way of banking.
Really?
Yeah, and I know that this is happening and coming, but it's very frustrating for me knowing what they're actually after, and that this is just one more step towards it. And it gets frustrating to me how they slowly push you and force you into it. And I was watching somebody that was having trouble. They didn't have a cell phone. This couple made it. They weren't going to get cell phones.
Yeah.
And just the disbelief from people who talk to them about not having cell phones and how can you survive with it. And it's getting hard to survive without a cell phone.
I can't do my banking without getting the RSA code from my phone.
Yep. So it's, those are sure signs if you're paying attention. So all of this gloom that I'm talking, let's bring it back to some solutions and some good news. We have people, like you say, you've got newcomers coming in and buying. You got people who are steady into it. What are you seeing positive on your side? What are you seeing for good deals that are available right now? What's your eye on right now? Some new metal or what puts a smile on your face, if anything?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't got much good news for silver. Like I said earlier, the wholesalers I use, they're pretty well sold out of most silver products. Some of them are completely sold out of platinum. So
what do you think about platinum? I've been hearing that for a few months, that platinum is getting very scarce.
It is literally all I can get most of the time is 1/10 ounce Britannias. I mean, we don't sell a lot of platinum, but I've been buying a bit where I can get it, just so we've got it if people ask for it, because otherwise it's just not out there. You know, and a year or so ago, we had a few people who are very smart were buying it at $800. It was hard getting any quantity then, because a lot of the wholesalers, their accounts department had told them to melt it, just send it to the refiner. It's been on the shelf for 6 months, a year. It's costing us the hedging and the carrying cost. Get rid of it. So a lot of retail product was destroyed. It's always made in very small batches anyway, with high premiums. And palladium is a, similar situation. Okay. So what's the good news? The good news is you can still buy silver. You can still buy it today, I think. Next week, apart from the secondary market product, there may be very little left. I mean, I can give you an example. The 100-ounce Pamp Swiss bars, a week or so, maybe 2 weeks ago, Pamp had around 800 of them in the US.
What?
They had 800 100-ounce bars. Now they've got 150. That's all they've got left.
No way.
Well, we've bought probably over 100-ounce bars in the last 3 weeks. Just us.
Wow.
So how long do you think 150 is going to last?
That's crazy.
Pamp must have several hundred retailers buying from them. Maples can't get them. They're gone. Like literally, there are no maples available wholesale.
That's crazy.
The prices are being quoted that if they do get any is like $4 to $5 wholesale now.
Really?
Now, well, that does sound a lot, but put that in context. When we started in 2020, our first order was silver maples. Spot was $25 and the premium was $5, the wholesale premium. So the wholesale premium in summer 2020 was 20%. So a 20% premium now would be $9.
Even more, right.
But we're going to get there fast. One wholesaler last week was selling Eagles at $10 wholesale. And what I've seen, the maples soon track the Eagles. But the difference now is that there isn't any. And no one is saying, well, when we're going to get some. So.
Wow. So is that now? I know originally, and we discussed that a little. It was getting bought up by the big money or on the back end quicker than it was at retail. Retail was dead there for a while. From
dead for about a year and a half, nearly 2 years. Yeah.
So, but now it's been bought up on the back end enough that there's very little out there for retail for people looking to get in.
Very little, because the amount of stock in the retail world is not huge anyway. And the amount that the wholesalers hold was never huge because they would be relying on continual feed from the mints. But as I said earlier, with the mints not prepared to mint, because they perceive they don't want to pay the lease rates to lease the silver. So we've got less product being made. We had that run of surplus retail where it did go back to the wholesalers and back to the refiners. So that's been turned mainly into 1,000-ounce bars and has been lost to retail.
Probably over in London now.
I wouldn't be surprised within 2 to 3 weeks I won't even be able to get 1,000-ounce bars.
Wow. That's a little bit nerve-wracking.
But if you think about it, if you can get nearly $2 more for selling silver on the Shanghai, what are you going to do?
Right.
You're going to try and get it to China.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Right.
But if you're a trader and you've got means of doing that, that's what you're going to do. So we are sleepwalking in the US to a pretty well complete stock out situation where there'll be dribbles of secondary market stuff coming in. But I'm surprised. I mean, we've got spoiled because we've had silver close to spot for a year now, and now that's pretty well come to an end. The only thing that is below spot is still the 90% is still below spot.
People are going to be shocked when they go to
really, really, really shocked because I can see. I mean, say spot stays, we're hovering around 47, 80, 48. Say spot stays and that the spot is a fixed. I can see the premiums and eagles getting to $10, $15 again, really, really rapidly. You know, just the product is not there at the wholesalers.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is an interesting question from AAA. Could I legally sell my physical silver to China? Well, you could sell it probably to the wholesalers and from there, right? Or what how would that happen?
It would be nice, wouldn't it, to get $1 or something over spot, get it to China.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't advise it. We're gonna greatly regret not trying to make a couple fiat dollars for real money. It's gonna be a huge slap in the face coming down the road.
No, I've never even looked into that. I mean, I'm sort of interested what the options are of getting silver to the UK because the premiums there are just crazy high.
Yeah. Well, it's a good point, Brian, and I think that's what's happening, and that's what these traders are doing. But at one point, I would hope that they would wake up and realize the actual what they're actually doing, because you know that short-term couple dollar gain in the fiat will be quickly dissipated just through inflation, and then we can't get a hold of it except for at a much higher price, and you're going to quickly lose that gain and be thinking, what was I thinking, right? I mean,
well, and plus I was having this discussion with a long-standing client, and he goes from being hopeful to being in despair about the silver price action, and I said, well, for all the time that you hold this, it's an insurance policy against the inevitable. We're not quite sure when that dramatic inevitable is going to happen. But when you hold this, it's insurance against the inevitable.
Yeah.
And the difference is you pay the premium to yourself because you just transfer fiat into this, which is store of value money.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually cost you anything.
Right.
But it's an insurance policy. And for us who bought, I mean, I think that's a Scottsdale stacker. I think I bought that at $17. You know, so that's now 17, 34, 2.5 times. That's not done too bad. No, and it's been an insurance policy all of that time.
Right. Yeah.
Because, you know, we've always been looking out for black swans, and now we've got to look out for orange swans. You know, it's like it could happen overnight. And I think that's how they will bring in the CBDC. It will be over the weekend solution to all of your problems.
Yeah.
And then at that point, will you be able to buy silver with your CBDC? Maybe on day 1, day 2, week 1, month 2. But then maybe you'll get limited to the amount you can buy because there's rich people who want to buy. So they get in line first.
Right.
That's coming. Control of how you can spend your dollars is coming.
Yes. Yep.
You know, they've tried the psychological with the volatility and the price suppression, and I think crypto has been one huge, big psychological scam. You know,
I agree for sure for this very purpose. Yes.
And I don't know what Bitcoin is doing today, but I don't think it's 30. I don't think it takes 37 ounces of gold to buy one Bitcoin today, does it? I think it's about 26 or 27 ounces of gold.
Okay, I haven't been.
That 37-to-1 ratio was in 2021. So if Bitcoin has stopped going up compared to gold, what's the point of Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Why not just have something real in your pocket or in your backyard or wherever you want to put it? So I think for Bitcoin to have momentum, it has to keep surging and it has to keep going up.
And it's a false reality anyway. It's
I mean, it can work as long as and I think it's my perception that its utility is when it's going up, then it has utility, because you buy it on a Monday and you sell it on a Friday and you've made 5%. It's like, that's perceived utility. But if it peaked against gold in 2021, what's the point? What's the risk? You know, why is it worth taking those, I think, extra risks?
Yeah, and the other countries, these other big countries, the BRICS, they're not into Bitcoin. They're standing on real reality, in my opinion, and it's because they're probably in a dangerous situation themselves. I mean, you know, standing under this fiat, getting run over, and watching the lawlessness take place makes you really sit down and think about reality and keep, you know, protecting yourself and others. And
that's a really good point that Brian has just made there, because everyone thinks they can get in and out at an optimal time.
Right. Yes.
I saw a brief article and it gave a scenario of the stock market is starting to fall rapidly. So somebody decides, do you know what? I'm going to cash in my IRA. I'm going to pay the tax. I'm going to cash in my $250,000 and I'm going to get 180,000 after I paid all the taxes and fees. I'm just doing that. I want my 180,000 now in my hand so I can put it into something real.
Yeah.
But you place the order and a million other people are trying to sell. So now you go in line because they say they can only do so many trades. So now you've got to wait 12 days for your trade. Well, the market's fallen 40% by the time it's your turn for your trade to get placed.
Yeah.
So now you end up with 80,000. So your $250,000 has gone, well, I can't cash it in because I've got to pay the tax. So I won't cash it in. That threat is mass deception.
Should be pretty telling in itself.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It is. If it's yours, it's yours. You know?
Right.
And I know there's been tax advantages but it's still entrapment, because at some point the thing falls off a cliff and the little guy gets stuck as a bag holder. It's exactly what happened in the 1929 crash. It's how every freaking crash, the little guy is the bag holder.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, pension funds have to have so much of this and so much. They're told what they can or can't buy. That's why financial advisors will get sacked if they advise their clients to buy precious metals.
Right.
Because the very bodies that's supposed to be supervising the financial advisory world subcontract it to people in the financial advisory world whose incentive is to keep people in the system so they can keep taking commission.
Yeah, right.
So, but that is really a key point there, Brian. People perceive they'll be able to get out when they want.
Right.
And when this goes south, and it will go south, you won't be able to get out.
Yep.
You're stuck. Yep. Not only you'll be stuck and the value will be falling, if that coincides, and I think it will, with the introduction of the CBDC, it's now transferred into a CBDC. So when you do manage to get it out and to go cash, now you're told what you can and can't do with that cash. Every penny is controlled. It's a perfect scenario, isn't it, for financial repression, for theft, unrealized gains, taxation, you name it.
Yep.
Punishment by CBDC. Heck, we won't even need the court system. They'll just
exactly. Yeah. And talk about if lawlessness is already there, just hold on.
They won't even need to bother to arrest you. They won't even need to bother to take your passport, because they can just turn it off. They'll stop you buying gas, stop you getting your car fixed. They'll know everything about you. Where that's coming to a theater near us very soon.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're a little already past time. We're welcome to talk as long as you like here. But so a couple things I do want to get from you right now. With inventory dwindling for the regular market, what do you see for people? If you would, what do you think that is a good idea for them to move into right now with you? And then also 888 here, if you had 100,000. what are the best metals for you to buy right now? How would you handle those questions?
I mean, it does depend on your view. It does depend on your storage options. It does depend a bit on your time scale. And it does depend whether you think our government could be crazy enough to overnight revalue gold.
Yeah.
But I think if you're starting from zero, I would have thought 80%, 90% silver, 10, 20% gold. Don't even think about anything, messing with anything else till you've got
that base. Yeah.
Get your base in silver. And that's not your rainy day fund. This is, I'm keeping this. Like, this is my insurance of privacy in the future. This is my insurance that if they stuff my property taxes up, it's a high chance your silver will have gone up in great value and you'll be able to pay your property taxes and keep your property. It's got so many uses going forward that we haven't even seen to protect some degree of liberty, some degree of privacy and freedom. Yeah. So that needs to be your core.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
As everybody knows probably here, I love rhenium. I think the setup for it is just absolutely incredible. But don't buy any until you've got a reasonable amount of silver.
Your base, indeed.
500 ounces, 1,000 ounces. I think that's, if you can get to that point, you're going to be okay for the rest of your life. If you can keep it private, use it as you need to, if you need to.
Right. Perfect. All right, and what do you got for deals? And we'll wrap it up. What do you got on your desk that people would,
we got some kilos at 99 cents, 10-ounce bars, 99 cents. Not much deals on the sovereign coins now. You're looking $5 on a maple, $4 on Philharmonics Krugerrands. I don't know if I want to sell any more Britannias, because if I get them back to Britain, they're tax exempt. So I'm not going to sell many more Brits. The 90% is a screaming deal. Still 50 cents back a spot. Dimes and quarters. It is not as liquid as we thought, because now the wholesalers are not buying it.
Yeah.
Because they can't sell on surplus to the refiners. But going forward, I think that situation will change.
I do too.
I wouldn't want more than 10%, 15% maybe of your stack in the 90%. But that's still an opportunity to get below spot.
Indeed.
And then everything else really is a day by day, almost hour by hour. I'm trawling the wholesalers. I'm on the phone to them, say, look, give me a ring when something comes in. So quite often I'll manage to snag something before it even hits hits their websites. It seems to be more relational now. I try to be a friend. I try to be a friendly person. I check up on my wholesalers. I like to, know they're okay and what's going on, in their lives and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm genuine in that.
Sure.
And I think that helps.
Sure.
Again, know your dealer. If you can build that trust and relationship, you'll say you'll get better deals.
Yeah.
If somebody needs to sell and it's a genuine reason and not just doing it to profiteer,
right.
I'll bend over backwards to help them get
awesome.
The best price.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I don't buy because you think there might not be any next week, but there might not be any next week. I know that sounds crazy. It's not a good. You don't panic into it.
Don't FOMO into it. Right.
No, you don't want to FOMO it. You want to know why you're doing it. This is your long-term plan, and I think most of us here agree that the government comes to steal, cheat, kill, and lie.
Yep.
So basically, yeah.
No argument here.
That's what they do, isn't it? They are killing, they're cheating, they're stealing, they're lying.
Yeah.
It's like, so if they will summary execute somebody without even naming who they are, do you think they have any respect for our privacy, for our financial independence,
right?
For our sovereignty, for our freedoms, for our constitution because it's not their constitution. They ignore it.
Right. Yep. No, you're nailing it on the head right there. Even though that's a hard thing to realize, but I think you're right on with that.
Yeah. So yeah, 48. So we're back over $48 now. It seems to have switched this time of the day. We have been getting smackdowns. We've been drifting down quite strongly. Now yesterday it went up this time, and today it's going up. So maybe that's the Shanghai, that arbitrage.
Holding it up, yeah. They can't go down too far with that. Yep.
Yeah. But I said this years ago. I remember Rob Keynes asked me on Gold Silver Pros, and he said, "What's the best investment you can make?" The best investment is knowledge and understanding. Keep learning,
sure.
Keep reading. Go to your charity shop, buy books on how to fix things, how to make things, how to grow things. Get it on paper between two sheets. Get a book.
Right. Yeah.
Because we already are in a way limited what we can access, because the internet is becoming so clunky, so filled up with garbage, and the AI you can't rely on that to guide you to an answer to something. Indeed. So if there's a subject you want to learn more about, go out and get a book tomorrow about it.
Get a book on it, you bet. Yeah. Yep.
And preferably one that's 20 or 30 years old, so it hasn't been messed around with these techno bros,
Indeed. All great wisdom there, Ian. Perfect. Well, we'll wrap this one up for today. Greatly appreciate it, everybody. Let me see if I can throw here is Ian's information scrolling across the bottom there. Give him a call, 307-264-9441, or email at ian@arksgo.com. Get in touch with him and get it before it's not there. I'm kind of surprised to hear that it's
nearly gone.
Getting that empty on the wholesale shelves that fast. But I've been wondering when this day would come around the corner, and wow, so interesting, very interesting. And thanks for keeping us up to date, and we'll get you back on here in a week or two and do it again.
Thank you.
All right, everybody out there in chat, thank you so much for hanging with us and your questions, and we will catch you all on the next one. Thanks, everybody.